Hey guys, J-Man here. I wanted to talk today a little bit about Captain Marvel, but I want to talk about, I guess, Carol Danvers, but really Ms. Marvel, which is what I started with. So early on in my comic book collecting days, I was getting into Ms. Marvel, and my buddy had some books, so I would read a little bit of his, and it was kind of a time where you share stuff. I didn't really. I would try to buy things here and there what I could. I did have Ms. Marvel #1, which is in the case there. That's actually not my Ms. Marvel #1. My Ms. Marvel #1 had like a big crease in the back of the back cover. So I ended up selling it for about 35 bucks. I picked that one up for about 70. This is Canadian dollars. So that's actually pretty cheap. This is a good quality, a good condition one. So I put that one on display. Just the other day, I was just browsing my comic shop, or not actually my comic shop. It's a comic shop that's close to my escape room, and they're pretty good. They got some good deals here and there. So I just went through their bin and I picked up a Ms. Marvel. This is number 17. It's a little bit. It was only $4. It's a little bit. I didn't notice this when I bought it. I probably wouldn't have bought it had I noticed this. I don't know why I didn't notice it. It looks like there's like a stain, kind of right here. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I've since been thinking that I might go ahead and try to collect the entire run of Ms. Marvel. There isn't really that many. For those of you who do want to start reading from the beginning, I suggest that you do, because I think Carol is a pretty interesting character if you look at her from the beginning. So that would be the #1 there. They've got this Masterworks collection, which you can get digitally. And what is this cover? There's a couple of volumes out. I got the first 2 volumes. How do I find out what this covers here? I guess series details, yes. So this gives you issues 1 to 14. So actually this issue is not included in that, but I've got the second volume as well. So I've read that volume recently. I went back and was trying to read from the beginning. I like to sometimes go from the beginning, and it's a lot easier nowadays than it was back in the past, when you really had to try to like hunt down these issues and you try to read them, and then you were scared to read them because they were worth something and you didn't want to mess up the book. Now with digital, I think it's a lot better. You can just go, find whatever you want and read it that way. It's very easy. It's very nice. I'll show you a couple of I mean, they've really cleaned this up beautifully. Let's get through here. Look at how clean this looks. Oops. Of course, I hit. It's very, very bright, colorful. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. And first issue she fights Scorpion, who's literally my third favorite Spider-Man villain, maybe one of my top villains of all time. I like her costume in this. It does change. You can see it's more revealing, which I guess some people might not like now. So she had her midriff exposed, and then later on you see that they covered it up. So actually, I don't mind it being covered up, although she is torn, typical kind of sexualized thing. But it's a product of its time. I'm not a fan of going back and judging old things with today's sensibilities, really, in terms of at least comics. I mean, it was a comic, right? Most comic book readers were males. All the conventions I went to, you'd be like, wow, here's all these dudes. And then, oh my God, there's one girl here. Oh my God, So most of the times it was men, at least from my perspective. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly guys, right? So they wanted this to appeal to guys, which is fine. And the point is that it did give you a pretty cool character. What I liked about Carol in the beginning here was that she had this memory problem thing where she actually had a split personality, which I thought was really cool. And they kind of got away from that, and then she became binary later and all that. And even within this I believe, I can't be for sure, but I believe within this collection, she realizes that she's also Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel or whatever. So she's Ms. Marvel and she's Carol, and they don't know. She swaps back and forth. The funny thing is that they pulled the old Hulk cartoon. I don't know if you remember the old Hulk cartoon where Hulk would turn into Hulk and his clothes would rip off, and then when he would turn back, they'd come back. So she'd get her costume like automatically, and they said it was like some kind of Kree technology, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean these first, at least these first 14 that I've read are pretty fun. There's nothing mind blowing going on here, but comics used to be fun. They still are. They're obviously still fun, but there wasn't really a lot of things trying to be pushed. Although this one was interesting, where they made her an editor, and she actually worked with J. Jonah Jameson, and he makes her the head of like a women's article, or like a women's I don't know what you want to call it, like editorial or something. So she kind of has that, but then she's not really great at her job because she's always off saving the day as Ms. Marvel. So then things start to be questioned, like, well, you're not doing your job very well, blah blah blah. So there's a little bit of cool things like that. They introduced as much as they could. Have her be the head of an entire column or whatever, or like a magazine. It's like there's the Daily Bugle, and then there's like women's magazine, so it's like she's like the head of that. So that's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of cool stuff, right? Like this is the 70s. I think this is 77 is when she was created. I didn't research this. I'm just going by memory. I was born in 77, so I'm pretty sure I always remember that she came around at that time. But I always took a liking to her. I like the costume. It's a little bit of the Captain Marvel colors, so obviously it's reminiscent of that. But yeah, I thought I thought these issues of Ms. Marvel were pretty cool. They were a lot of fun. My buddy turned me on to them a long time ago. He'd said, if you like female superheroes, which I tend to really enjoy the female superheroes. I really like Supergirl, Wonder Woman, some of my favorites. I like Jean Grey. So he's like, well, why don't you try, Ms. Marvel? And I got into it. I thought it was a lot of fun, So I think I will probably collect the run of this. I'll update you guys as I get them. So right now I have number 1 and number 17. Good start to your collection, but there's not that many. I think it's like 20 something. So yeah, you know what? Check out Ms. Marvel. Have an open mind. Remember when it was created. A lot of good stuff, pushing, a lot of like going forward. So strong female character, of course, which is we already have seen 100 times. But like Ms. Marvel was like kind of they tried to do something a little bit different. The split personality thing is kind of cool because she's like wakes up, she's like, what's going on? It added something new to the character. They don't really have that now. Now she's just a hero, which is fine. I still collect all the Captain Marvel comics. But yeah, Ms. Marvel, give it a shot. I think it's pretty neat. Yeah, I thought she looked pretty cool. I don't think they did a pop of her in that costume, but I don't think I was able to get it. Was I? No, it was like one of those exclusive Funko Pops where you had to be, at this place at the right time. Like, whatever. There's a better chance of you being struck by lightning than being at that thing. For me, I'm in Canada, so I'm never going to the States for these like huge conventions just to get one Funko Pop or whatever. I wish they'd just make these things more available, and then I'd get them. But whatever. That's a whole different issue. Anyways, just wanted to, touch base with you guys, talk about Ms. Marvel. Let me know if you like Ms. Marvel, if you didn't like that angle, you thought it was stupid, you didn't like the costume, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, let me know in the C's below if you have any thoughts, and that's it. All right, guys, until next time.